Hello and welcome back to the Nerva Beacon podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Doctor Who. And joining me, as always, in this endeavour, because she's, quite frankly, she's, putting up with a lot, really, talking Doctor Who with me. But she's one of my best friends in the whole world and I love her to pieces. It is, of course, your friend and mine, Leigh Francis.
Hello, everybody. Tonight,
how are you?
I'm okay.
How's it going?
Everything's going very well.
Yeah?
Lovely sunny weather.
Well, apart from that.
Yeah. Seagulls nesting on the chimney right outside my window.
Yeah. That'll happen.
Yeah.
When you live near the sea.
Yeah, got to keep the windows shut in case they fly in.
Thankfully, I don't have to do that here because I've got a cat who'll kill them. So, there you go. Anything Doctor Who related you've been getting up to in the last couple of weeks?
Actually, no, not really. Just watching some Doctor Who and listening to some audio plays.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot going on at the moment, is there? That's the problem. It's all just waiting until October, isn't it?
Yes.
Of course, the BBC's not making too much of it at the moment because they've got a whole World Cup to get out of the way before.
Yeah. I'm not a football fan. I know you are, but I'm not. But...
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it. That's all I think. So when they get to certain when I think, Euro 96. That's what it's getting like. But but they've got that to get out of the way before they even consider talking about anything that's happening in autumn. So yeah, not a lot going on with that. What orders have you been listening to?
Pardon? Audios. Some of the 8th Doctor ones, funnily enough. Recapping on stuff. But we're not doing those this week, are we?
No, we'll be talking about those next week. They deserve a whole episode to themselves because they're kind of important. Yeah. And if we'd been talking a couple of years ago, which we'll talk about in a bit, then it might not have been a side thing. But because somebody made them canon with one line, then they deserve an episode of themselves. But if you hadn't worked it out already, we are, of course, this week talking about the 8th Doctor, Paul McGann, who we both... I'm a fan. I don't know if you're a fan.
I think he's absolutely brilliant. The first time I watched it, when it first showed on television, 1996, I thought, it's a bit cack, this. But over the years, I've grown to love it. And you can really, really see where Russell T Davies and especially Stephen Moffat's taken their inspiration from that particular storyline.
Nah, I would agree. I think there's elements of it that were picked up in 2005.
Yeah. And
as much as it's basic, it's a basic story because it's reintroducing the character it's introducing the characters to a new audience, i.e. the Americans, and it's reintroducing the characters to people who hadn't had it in 7 years.
Yep.
So it's, it had a difficult job to do, did the TV movie, and if you're thinking that you're listening to this podcast and think, they're gonna tear out a new one. Nope. I'll spoiler alert you right now. That's not going to happen.
There's a few elements I didn't really like, but, a couple.
But we're not going to rag on it.
No.
I have heard podcasts that do. We say, it's shit.
It's not shit.
There are elements I maybe wouldn't have, but, nothing's perfect.
Yeah.
But we'll give you a bit of context. So, in 1989, Survival was the last classic Doctor Who episode, and that was it. It was never officially cancelled, but it was not picked up again.
Apart from, I can't remember.
Dimensions in Time.
Dimensions in Time, apart from that, but let's not go there.
No, we won't go there. Samuel West, friend of the podcast, I'm claiming it. He said, he'll love it because it gave him work and it let him be on Doctor Who, but apart from that, it was a bit bobbins, wasn't it, really?
Might do an episode about that one day.
Oh, yeah. Well, wait, yeah, it deserves its own episode on its own, does Dimensions in Time. We will maybe do a commentary or something. That would be fun. But yeah, so it hadn't been on telly in like 7 years, Doctor Who. But producer Philip Segal had been trying for some years to launch it in America. And the rumours always were that Spielberg was going to make a movie of it. One of the big American TV stations was going to pick it up, like Fox or NBC. In fact, I think it was Fox that were the only ones to show any sort of interest in the early days.
Yeah.
But eventually it didn't happen. We'll talk about why. But eventually, Philip Segal secured BBC money, and he secured BBC Worldwide and Universal Television getting involved. So it was Fox. So I'll start again. The production budget was $5 million, which at that point was quite a lot of money. Yeah. Fox Network spent $2.5 million. BBC TV contributed $300,000 sorry, and the remaining $2.2 million split between BBC Worldwide and Universal Television. Mm-hmm. So they basically got it off the ground, and they wanted to start making it, and it was going to be a backdoor pilot, is what they call it, where they make a television movie, and they kind of sort of hope that a big American television will pick it up after that.
Like what David Lynch did with Twin Peaks.
Exactly. So if there's enough buzz about it, somebody will say, "Oh, actually." And the thing about TV programs in America is that their ownership is fluid. Basically, if you're an independent production company, you have a television program, you can basically sell that to who you want.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen too often over here. I think one of the only ones that it really happened to was Men Behaving Badly.
Yes, I remember that.
Because it started off in Thames. Thames Television died, and then they went to BBC and became even more successful. So it does happen, but not very often. But in America, happens all the time. Most recently would be Brooklyn Nine-Nine that's happened to.
Yeah.
Because Fox cancelled it, and then the day after, NBC said, "Well, we'll take it then."
Yeah, that happened with Babylon 5 as well, if I remember rightly.
Did it? Do you know what? I will admit I never watched it. I watched it 3 times and thought, well, this is shit. And never watched it ever again.
Oh, the first series really shit. But the first series becomes really important by the time you get to the third.
Is that when doesn't Tron join the series at some point?
Who?
Tron. Is it Bruce Boxleitner?
Yeah.
The Scarecrow?
Yes, he comes into it in the second series, and that's when it starts getting good because I don't know. The first can't remember his name. He was good, but you could tell he wasn't very well mentally because he had bipolar.
Yeah. Oh, Jeffrey something or other, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Boxleitner took over.
Yeah.
The only characters I liked in that were Jakar.
Yeah, everybody loved Jakar.
And Mondo.
Yeah.
Londo Malari.
Yes. Basically, the whole thing about Babylon 5 is about Londo and his rise and fall.
Yeah, and that dude in the suit.
Yes, Matthew Morden.
No. It's the really weird alien.
Oh, the Vorlon.
Vorlon, there you go. And wasn't Walter Koenig in it as well?
Yes, he played
Wesker.
Yeah, he played Alfred Bester.
Bester, that's it. And he's named after a sci-fi author, I think. Anyway, we're not a Babylon 5 podcast. I don't like Babylon 5. I do like Doctor Who, so let's talk about Doctor Who. But they had several lists of actors to consider for the part of the Doctor. Among early thoughts, and this is interesting to go through. Michael Crawford? No, not really. I mean, he's a good dramatic actor. Right? He was good in things like Condor Man. Mm-hmm. So he could have done the action elements, but maybe not. This one I would have killed. Tim Curry.
Yes.
Oh, I would have killed. The Master, even.
Yes, I would have killed to see Jonathan Pryce as the Doctor as well at that time.
He was on the list that they wanted with Jonathan Pryce. He became the Master. He was a good Master as well, even though it was a comedy sketch. I quite liked him as Master. Eric Idle was in there. No. Billy Connolly, definitely not. No. Trevor Reeve, that's an interesting one. Michael Palin, I can actually see that. He's quite a good actress, Michael Palin. So
yeah, he's Robert Lindsay. We're both looking at the same notes here, aren't we?
I would have loved Robert Lindsay to do it.
Yeah, I think
he'd have been great.
More of a master type, I think.
Robert Lindsay, yeah definitely. I can see that. The actual casting sessions and actors who actually auditioned for it was Liam Cunningham, oddly enough, Mark McGann, Robert Lindsay again, Tim McInerney.
He would have been good, actually, so would Liam Cunningham.
Yeah, Tim McInerney would have been great. Next one would have been great as well, Nathaniel Parker.
Yeah.
I really like Nathaniel Parker.
He's very, very good. That listed here who went for the auditions would have been perfect.
Yeah, I was getting mixed up with Kieran Hines as well, Nathaniel Parker. Kieran Hines is pretty good. He would have been good in that. But he would have been a good Master as well. Peter Woodward, John Sessions. Maybe back then he would have been good.
Yeah, he was in, what was it? Gorman gassed a couple of years later, and he was really, really bloody good in that.
Yeah, he was a good actor back in the day. Anthony Head, it'd been brilliant.
Oh, yes.
But it was, don't get me wrong, he was great when he was in Doctor Who, when he was one of the Kryllin. But to be fair, he's still one of my favourite underrated villains in Doctor Who. Is that one?
Yeah.
I quite like the Kryllin as well. I thought they were a good idea.
Yes, they were. I liked those ones.
Very Tom Baker.
Mm-hmm.
Very Graham Williams era Tom Baker. Tony Slattery as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was a very good actor as well.
He was at the time, before he was ill.
Yeah.
Sadly, he got very, very ill, did Tony Slattery. And Paul McGann was considered, but did not formally audition for the part until later. Two actors who were invited, but didn't, were Christopher Eccleston and a certain Peter Capaldi. Eccleston turned it down because he didn't want to be typecast, essentially. Uh-huh. And Capaldi declined, and this is very blessed, because he felt it was unlikely that he would be given the part.
Yeah.
Oh, he breaks your heart, doesn't he? He really does break your heart, does Peter Capaldi, because he's just like the most humble man in the world. Yeah. It's like, yes, you were good, and you were brilliant, and you were one of my favourite Doctors, but never mind. Out of the characters that did audition, some of them ended up being in Doctor Who. So obviously we talked about Anthony Head. Tim McInerney guest starred in Series 4 in the Planet of the Planet of the Ood.
Yeah.
There's Kleinman Halpern, who had a horrific transformation scene into an Ood.
Yeah.
It was scary. Liam Cunningham was Captain Zukov in Cold War.
Yep.
And John Sessions guest starred in Mummy and the Orient Express as the voice of Gus, the computer. I still keep saying I want Frank Skinner to return.
Yes, I do.
Because he was fucking ace.
He would have been brilliant just pottering around in the TARDIS, and he was fixing it all up as he went along.
He was great. I loved it. Could have done with it. But anyway, production was in Vancouver, and they cast a few other people. Eric Roberts most famously as the Master, because he wanted to do it. He was a bit of a fan of the show. I think we discussed this last time. He watched it when he was a RADA student. Mm-hmm. Which is very, very cool. And they convinced, and this is the best bit, Philip Siegel didn't want it to be a reboot. He wanted it to be a continuation of the old series. So they convinced Sylvester McCoy to come back and film a regeneration sequence, which is great. And I really like the fact that it does that. It does have that continuity.
Yeah.
But you don't need to know about anything that happened before.
Mm-hmm.
So, you had all that going on. You had Eric Roberts. They got Michael David Sims, who had been in the X-Files, because they were all in Vancouver at that point. They cast Yi Ji-zo as Chang Li, who I really like. They cast Daphne Ashbrook as Grace Holloway. And Will Sasso's in it as well. A big fan of Will Sasso. He's very funny, but he's in it for a little bit as well. Mm-hmm. And they also cast a guy to be the Old Master, which is a guy called Gordon Tipple, who I feel was a bit screwed over. Mm-hmm. He had a little bit of acting in there, and he had the original voiceover. You know the voiceover that Paul McGann has?
Yeah.
That was originally the Master.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He was talking about being captured by the Daleks, and my plan was to get captured by the Daleks and have the Doctor pick me up, and then my plan could be put in motion and all that kind of stuff. You know the kind of stuff the Master talks about. But he had all that, and then it was cut. Because they thought, oh no, wait, it'd be better if the Doctor did it. And I'm thinking, I don't think it would be.
Well, I don't know. I think it might have been a bit too spoilery, revealing the Master's plan before the actual thing started.
Yeah, because all of us knew that the Master couldn't have possibly have had a plan. That doesn't sound like him.
Oh no, not at all. Master never had plans.
No. But there you go. They also had the Daleks in there, which they must have paid a lot of money for.
Yeah.
Because this is the Nation estate in the 90s when there was nothing going on.
Yeah.
Just to give you, you guys can't... Some of you won't remember. Some of you will be too young to remember this shit. But in the 90s, there was just nothing. I remember the 30th anniversary was in 1993, and the BBC, the whole of their celebrations came down to 2 box sets. You had a box set of, I think it was Trial of a Time.
Yeah, it came in a big TARDIS tin.
And they had one which I picked. I wish I picked the Trial of a Time one, but they had another one with Remembrance of the Daleks and The Chase in it.
Yeah.
Which had Daleks on the tin. And I'd never watched The Chase before.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never watched it again.
Oh, it went on a bit too long.
Oh, and it's shit. That's the other thing that you have to remember about the chase. It's not very good. And it makes the Daleks into comedy. But anyway. So yeah, that was pretty much the extent. They showed some John Pertwee stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't have a celebration. I think did they have a Doctor Who night? I don't think they did until later on.
Sure.
I can't remember there being anything. I'm sure there was. There must have been.
The only other thing that was going on Doctor Who-wise back then was the New Adventures. And I read quite a few of them, and I distinctly remember not one of them having Daleks in.
Yeah. Because they couldn't afford to pay the donation estate.
Yeah.
This is the that I was reading something the other day about. Will there be Daleks in Jodie Whittaker's new series? Yes. Spoiler alert. Yes, there will be. Because if they don't, then they're not allowed to use Daleks again.
Yeah.
So yes, that there will be. Even if it's just a slight mention, like there was last series.
Yeah.
There has to be Daleks in it at some point. But there you go. But yeah, in the 90s, there was just nothing going on at all. To have this was all really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
This was very exciting to have this going on. And to have people like Eric Roberts, who at that point wasn't a massive star, but he certainly wasn't a minor star in any way, shape or form.
No, he was a very well thought of actor.
And then to have Paul McGann in there as well. Paul McGann was a massive star.
Yeah, The Hanging Gale and things like that.
Monocle Mutineer and... weren't all the McGann brothers in it at that point?
Yes. The Hanging Gale, that was all the McGann brothers. That was...
Yeah. Includes Stephen and... Is it Mark who was in The Upper Hand?
Yes.
And Stephen's in Call the Midwife,
No, it's Joe McGann who's in...
Oh, Joe, that's it.
And they all look exactly the same.
They're all the same, but fatter.
Mm-hmm.
It depends who's the fattest. And to be fair, Paul McGann is the prettiest.
Yes, he is.
He's even now he's still the prettiest. Mm-hmm. But like I say, I think Stephen's in Call the Midwife, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
And again, he's a bit of a pretty boy, but there you go. But yeah, to have Paul McGann as the Doctor, and we've got a horse to thank for it, basically, because had Paul McGann not broke his leg on a horse filming Sharp, because he was originally meant to be Sharp,
mm-hmm.
Then he wouldn't have lost the part to Sean Bean. Sean Bean wouldn't have taken his part. Paul McGann would be busy filming Sharp. We wouldn't have had Doctor Who.
Yep.
But then again, that might have meant that we got Sean Bean as Doctor Who.
I can't see that.
I can.
I don't know.
Do you want a Doctor more northern than Jodie Whittaker? Sean Bean.
And from the same bloody town as well, and yet he sounds more northern.
I don't know. She was pretty northern the other week on the BAFTAs. BAFTAs. Yeah. BAFTA. BAFTA. Bloody hell. Anyway, so yeah. So as we say, the Master's captured by the Daleks. He gets executed. The Doctor. Now, this is where it gets a bit odd because the fiction starts to contradict itself. In the film, he says that he is tasked with transporting the Master's remains to Gallifrey and the Daleks let him. In Lungbarrow, it says that he has to go and get them surreptitiously and basically steal them off the Daleks. Mm-hmm. I'm more inclined to believe Lungbarrow on this one.
I don't know. Lungbarrow's not canon, so...
No, it's a shit. Yeah. It just... I don't know. Would the Daleks let them do that? Because they are in the middle of the Time War by this point. Bit weird. Anyway. When the Doctor... This is the 7th Doctor, just so you're clear. When the Doctor is transporting the remains to Gallifrey, the box with the remains breaks open and ooze leaks out. It infects the TARDIS, and the Doctor is forced to make an emergency materialisation in San Francisco, in Chinatown, on the 30th of December 1999. It's revealed in the 8 Doctors, the Terrance Dicks novel set directly after this, that the Master had gone back previous to being executed by the Daleks and swallowed something called the Deathworm Morphant. Which basically infected his system, and he's basically transported his soul into the Deathworm. So when he got executed by the Daleks, that survived, and that's what he is at this point. Because it's never explained in the film at all.
No.
It's just, yep, that's what it is. I suppose if you're a fan of the show by this point, you kind of know it's one of those tricks that the Master has up his sleeve, and you don't really need to explain.
Yeah, he's always got loads of tricks up his sleeve. So bloke.
Because they never really explained him going into Tremass's body, apart from, it's Traken's power.
Yeah, they never explained him surviving the fire in... the episode, the Peter David...
Planet of Fire.
Planet of Fire, yeah.
Yeah, they never explained that. They never explained him getting off Gallifrey and in the Five Doctors properly.
They never explained him getting out of survival.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Yeah. Or the demons, or the time monster, any of that shit. It just, that's the Master. Mm. That's what he does.
And they definitely never explained how... Oh, yeah, they did eventually, I think. How Missy got off Skaro at the end of The Witch's Familiar.
Yeah, she had a plan. Mm. And they never explained properly how she got off Gallifrey, though.
No.
Although wasn't there that thing, because there's that thing in Day of the Doctor where you see a hand come out of the painting. Mm-hmm. And everyone says, oh, that must be the Master. But I'm not sure. I think that might be Clara. Mm-hmm. Clara's hand. But I don't know, if that's Missy, I'm down with it. Mm-hmm. They explain it on the River Songs.
Could well be Missy, because they did say that Missy went to Gallifrey and told Rassilon all about the hybrid being the Doctor and Clara.
Yeah. Well, there's that, and the fact that that whole Missy story arc was already set up by Belsa St. John, wasn't it? Because that was Missy who gave her, Clara, the TARDIS number, wasn't it? To get them back together. Well, there you go. But the Doctor, realising that something's very wrong with the TARDIS, he exits the TARDIS and is shot by a gang chasing down a guy called Chang Li, who's a young Chinese-American man. Lee calls for an ambulance and escorts the unconscious Doctor to hospital. He's not aware that the use from the TARDIS has gotten aboard the ambulance. The bullets are removed from the Doctor, but cardiologist Grace Holloway attempts surgery to stabilise his erratic heartbeat. But she's confused by double heart anatomy and lodges a cardiac probe in the Doctor's body, killing him, apparently. Out of all the Doctor's deaths, this is probably the most mundane.
Yeah.
Death by surgery.
No, you can't beat death by a little tap on the console.
Yes, the Sixth Doctor. Well, the Sixth Doctor at least is interesting because we don't really know what happened, and there's all those fan theories. This one is unequivocally, she lodges a probe where she shouldn't lodge a probe. Whoopsie. Have you ever been... Have you had a medical mishap? You can sue today. That was the Doctor going, oh yes, I decided I'm going to sue her. But that was the worst Sylvester McCoy impression ever.
Yes, it sounded more like a Dalek, to be honest.
Yeah, probably. Never mind. So yes, she lodges a cardiac probe in the Doctor's body, and it apparently kills him. He's taken to the morgue, and Lee is given the Doctor's possession, including the TARDIS gate. The ooze takes over the body of ambulance driver Bruce, transforming into a new body for the Master. What it doesn't mention here is the horrible thing that he kills his wife in the morning.
Yes.
Interestingly enough, the woman who plays his wife is Eric Roberts' wife, or was Eric Roberts' wife at the time. Uh-huh. I think she still is. But yeah, that's it. That's his wife, which is cool. I think so anyway. So the Doctor regenerates inside the morgue.
I absolutely love this sequence with the morgue workers watching Frankenstein at the same time.
Yeah.
The Doctor's regenerating. That is absolutely genius, that.
It's very well edited as well, very well cut together. Is that section. And I do like the facial morphing that Sylvester McCoy does as well.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting take on regeneration. Mm. It actually looks like it might... It makes it look, and there's you can hear bones cracking there as well.
Yeah.
So it's like the body is literally morphing in front of your eyes. And it's seamless as it turns into McCoy. There's no... now, they do take a little bit of time changing the face. And that's fine. I have no problem with that. I think it's really clever. Especially the way they did it with Capaldi and Jodie Whittaker with the eyes. I really enjoyed that. But this looks like it might actually hurt a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, very, very good. But yeah, the bit with McGann's hand falling down and the Frankenstein monster's hand twitching and stuff.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that it turns out the Doctor's massively strong because he knocks that morgue door down. He just flies off its hinges.
Yeah.
And then you got that great bit where Will Sasso goes, "Oh God, no! Oh God, no!" and just faints. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think I'd go along with it. This one was more original regeneration.
I think so, and I think it's certainly something that now we've got. It's weird now because we've got standardised regeneration. Mm-hmm. One of the good things about the new series that they've done is they basically said all these different methods of regeneration where obviously as technology got better, you got more intricate and interesting regenerations. Mm-hmm. It sort of hits its apotheosis with McCoy into McGann, I think, and then obviously RTD looks at that and says, "Yeah, we need to make this sort of in continuity. We need to make this standard now." So all they've done really is just tweak it, I think, since then.
Yeah,
which I think it's for the best.
Yeah, you can see the from when McGann's finished regenerating, you see the residual regeneration energy coming from his mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. So
that on with the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they did that when they did Tennant, didn't they? He had that residual regeneration energy coming out of his mouth and stuff, which got the pilot fish coming and the Sycorax. But there you go. So, obviously, the Doctor now is suffering amnesia, post-regenerative amnesia. He gathers clothes from the remnants of a recent party, and in that you get the little sight gag of the Fourth Doctor's scarf.
Yes.
And something that Moffat later changed, you've got the Doctor basically gets a Wild Bill Hickok costume with a gun and a bandolier, and he consciously puts the bandolier down.
Yeah.
Which in Night of the Doctor, he picks a bandolier up.
Yeah. So
he does sort of he comes back to it, does Moffat later on, which is cool. He does recognise Holloway. She's resigned from the hospital after the failed operation. It wasn't the failed operation that she resigns from, though. It's the fact that they're going to cover it up that she doesn't like.
Yeah.
They're just going to say, "Oh, it's just some hobo," and put him back on the street and stuff.
Yeah, the body's disappeared. There's no body. He's bent. The line manager's bent all the evidence that there was ever somebody with two hearts there. And she's like, "Oh, fuck this."
Which shows her a good moral character.
Yeah.
The thing I also like about it is that the guy who is trying to cover it all up is it's Michael David Sims from The X-Files, who plays a character. He's one of the cigarette smoking men's flunkies, and he tried covering shit up all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay then, fair enough. You're paid. No typecasting for you, for. But there you go. Grace takes him home to recover and to basically work out what's going on. I like the bit that she realises it's him. He's still got the probe sticking out of him. Ugh. And he pulls it out and it's, oh no, I don't like that bit.
That bit didn't bother me.
Oh no, I'm not a fan of that. Anything sort of stuck in the heart and things like that, can't be pleasant for him. Obviously it's not real, but you know. Lee returns to the TARDIS as Chang Lee because he wants to know basically what's going on with that. The Master is already in there. And I'm not sure how, because he seems to be there before Chang's there.
Yes, he is, because he comes through the back from the Eye of Harmony.
Yeah, must do. But he does put Lee under mind control. He doesn't say, "Oh, you will obey me," sadly. But everything but, basically. It turns out he's really, really good, is the Master in this as well. I really like Eric Roberts as the Master. Mm. He kind of gets it.
Yeah, he got the character spot on, I think.
He's not too over the top until the end.
No, when he puts the ropes on.
Yeah.
Why not?
But he's up until that point, he's not that over the top, I don't think, in it. And he could have been.
Like, his character. He gets thrown into his body and he changes alongside. He gets the voice right eventually.
Yeah, you also got that Gronky bit where he's picking off his fingernails because the body's dying.
Mm. That's the bit I didn't like. I hate You don't like hearts being poked around with, and I hate fingernails being...
I'm not too much of a fan of that either. It's pretty Gronky, is that. But he's cool. I like the fact his eyes have changed and that. It's part of the death worm that it does change your eyes. It's pretty cool. But yeah, he also convinces Lee, does the Master, to open the TARDIS properly. And then to open the Eye of Harmony, which requires a human retinal scan for some reason. When the eye's opened, again, they do miss an important scene out, and you've got the scene where the Doctor's basically starting to remember who he is slightly because of Puccini.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was there. Oh, sorry, he wrote most of Madame Butterfly when Puccini died. He gets this sort of superpower where he can, if he meets somebody, he instantly knows everything about them and their future and their past.
Yeah.
And it's not, they don't really go down that route much in Big Finish. They do a little bit, but it's not something they sort of continue with. But in this, they really go full on, and this Doctor is a bit more open about time travel and things than other Doctors have been.
Yeah.
Grace also discovers that the Doctor's blood isn't human blood as well. Turns out her boyfriend's left her as well, but that's a B plot within a B plot. Is that doesn't come to anything. I don't know why they had that. To be fair,
opening so they could have a romance between the Doctor and Grace.
Yeah, which again doesn't really happen anyway. But never mind. So yeah, the Eye of Harmony opens, and this is something you have a problem with: is the Eye of Harmony being in the TARDIS?
Yes. Because the last time I saw the Eye of Harmony, it was on Gallifrey in the Deadly Assassin.
See, I always took it as every TARDIS has a bit of it in there, or a portal to it in there, and it's just sort of it's shorthand for that.
Oh, right, that makes sense then.
Yeah, I mean that's what I took it as. So you got the main one on Gallifrey.
Yeah.
And these ones are just like every TARDIS has one because that's how it gets its power from the main Eye of Harmony.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So RTD turned it round and turned it into the heart of the TARDIS.
Yeah, which is essentially the same thing anyway. But there you go. So yeah, the Eye of Harmony opens. When that opens, and this is the bit I don't get, but the Doctor's flooded with memories and realises TARDIS. Realises the Master is searching for him. I get it in a way because each TARDIS is intrinsically linked to its driver, pilot.
Yeah.
That's because of the symbiotic nuclei. So I guess, without going too much into it, that's why. The other thing that this happens as well is that they have the thing that the Doctor is half human. I'm not a fan.
No. I think that's been long hand-waved.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was retconned straight away by Terence Dicks, who basically said in the 8 Doctors, he just said that to Grace to get her on side.
Yeah. Possibly to trick the Master.
Rule number 1, the Doctor lies.
Yes.
It's never mentioned again in anything. The other theory that goes around is that just before, or just as the timing malfunction was going on, the Doctor used the chameleon arch to make half of his body human to trick the Master and to make it more difficult for the Master to track him.
Yeah.
I guess. I would put it down more to American TV executives not being very imaginative. Because they had this thing, or if you go back in American sci-fi history, that a lot of characters are half human because execs don't think that people can relate to aliens, which is bullshit.
Spock.
Yeah, Spock's half human. But I mean, with Spock it kind of works because it means he's got that unusual dichotomy and it makes the character a bit more interesting.
Yeah.
But I think that's a consequence rather than a reason. I think the reason was execs just wanted it to be, it's relatable. But Roddenberry et al. Made it an interesting character quirk. But other than that, I'm not a fan of, I'm an alien, but I'm really half human as well. So I'm just like you. I don't know, I just don't like it.
No.
I certainly don't like it with the Doctor. The whole point of him is that he's an alien.
Yeah.
And admittedly, this incarnation, you see, I see it a lot, and I don't kind of agree with it. The more I listen to more Big Finish stuff of him, well, he's the most human of the Doctors. Is he, though?
No.
I don't think he is. I think he likes humans a lot more. I think he's more in touch with his feelings.
Yeah.
But he can be extremely alien sometimes. And that's kind of why I like him. But anyway, as he realises that the Master is scanning him, he decides to sort of get out of range if he can and find the eye and close it, because if he doesn't close it, then the eye is going to cause catastrophic reality morphing on Earth and basically suck the Earth into it eventually.
Yeah. And that's when Grace realises, yeah, he is telling the truth here. Like,
I don't even think then that because she tries to get him committed originally, doesn't she?
Yeah, and she tries to get herself committed as well when she realises.
Because he walks through the window, which is always on the trailers. I remember that being on the trailers and thinking, well, that's pretty cool. And it is for 1996. That's quite a cool effect.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, he needs an atomic clock to close the Eye of Harmony. Again, never explained. It's the beryllium circuit, basically, that he needs. But again, not really explained why. And it's a thing of this episode. It's a thing of this thing that a lot of it's not explained. Just go with it, and you'll enjoy it.
That's what the whole point of the programme, the whole thing is anyway. Just, I'll explain later.
Yeah, exactly. So they find that there is an atomic clock being on display at the San Francisco Institute of Technological Advancement and Research. As they get there, they find that the ambulance with the Master and Leigh waiting for them, offering them a ride. The Doctor doesn't immediately recognise the Master, but discovers his true identity en route, and it's quite good actually how that happens. The Master corrects Grace on her grammar as well, which is great. Yeah. As good as me, as well as you. But yeah, once he is discovered, the Doctor takes off his sunglasses, sees his luminous green eyes, and the Master in retaliation spits an ooze-like substance on Grace's wrist. But the two, Grace and the Doctor, continue to the Institute and obtain the clock, returning to the TARDIS on a great scene with a bike chase and an ambulance chase. A great scene with the cops stopping them when they nick the bike.
I'd shoot myself.
Oh, I saw 8 Doctor is that. It's like, I'll get you to do what I want to do, not by threatening you, but by threatening my safety, so you'll do it. I also like the bit with the jelly baby, and he goes, "Oh, I'm not sure about this." It's like, he's British. And he goes, I really like that bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's very, very cool. We've also got one of my favourite bits where Chang and the Master of the ambulance are stuck in traffic. And the Master says, "Just go through, everyone." And he says, "Oh, I can't really do that.
You're in an ambulance.
This is an ambulance!" I love how he delivers that line. It's fantastic. It's that point I think, yeah, he gets it. He gets it. He knows what he's doing. I cannot stress how much I love Eric Roberts as the Master. He just I don't know, for some reason he's just great. But Chang's really good as well. I like the fact that the Master gets a companion in all this.
Yes, the Master's never really had companions.
No, he had Lucy.
Mm-hmm.
And he had Chang. And that's about it, really. But the War Master has one as well. Mm-hmm. Very briefly. But there you go. Yeah, so they get to the TARDIS eventually. And the Doctor installs the beryllium clock and successfully closes the eye. But the damage to reality is too great. He must revert time before the eye was open to prevent the destruction of Earth. Again, just go with it. As he connects the proper TARDIS circuits to do this, the Master takes control of Holloway's body, and her eyes becoming human, she hits the Doctor. She really does smack him as well.
Oh, I know. She floors him.
With a wrench as well, if I remember correctly. So it's not just a little bit. The Doctor then wakes to find himself to be Alex Delage.
Yep.
Effectively, with his eyes opened forcibly, in something that really, he says, "I'm not going to lie to you, this is really going to hurt." And the Master's plan is to take the Doctor's remaining regenerations for some reason, and apparently this is the Eye of Harmony will do this. Just go with it. Yeah. The Doctor is able to break the Master's control on Leigh, and Leigh refuses to open the Eye of the Master, so the Master basically breaks his neck.
Yeah,
you don't.
You can hear the bones crunching that as well.
You saw it in the American version. You don't see it in the British version.
Mm-hmm. The version I watched last night, then, because I definitely saw it.
Yeah, no, they cut it, and it was really obviously cut as well. Same when he kills Grace. Again, that's it's cut to buggery, because there were 3 main cuts made. There was the bit where he kills Chang, the bit where he kills Grace, and the bit where the Doctor gets shot. The reason that they cut the bit with the Doctor getting shot is because the Dunblane massacre had only been 3 months prior.
Yeah.
So they thought it's a bit too sensitive. Of course, these days they would show it, but there you go. So yeah, Holloway's still under his control, but he needs her eye, so he basically looks like he's kissing her. He's actually sucking the poison out of her that he put in her, and uses her eyes to open the eye again. The Master then has to become immobile so that he can try and get the Doctor's regenerations through the Eye of Harmony. This gives Grace the chance to basically mess that up. But sadly, she does get killed in the process because the Master does kill her. But this gives the Doctor enough time to free himself and attack the Master. They actually have a bit of a good fight as far as these fights. And the Master goes full Deathworm Snaky. And basically, the Doctor knocks him into the eye. He tries to save him, and the Doctor basically does what Davros does and says no. He doesn't go far as to say, "I name you Doctor Forever, Destroyer of Worlds." But that's Davros, isn't it?
But John Sims' Master did the same as well.
Yeah, he just died to piss him off.
Yep.
That was more poignant, though.
Yeah.
This isn't as poignant. The Master, I like that. How do you like that? I win. That was just Russell T Davies again kicking the 10th Doctor in the nuts, wasn't it? But this was the Master just being a douche. The eye does close once the Master's been sucked into the eye. It undoes Leigh and Holloway's death for some reason. Don't think about it. The Doctor prepares to leave because there's no further risk to Earth. Leigh returns his possessions, but the Doctor gives him 2 bags of gold dust that would have been used for Cybermen. But the Doctor gives it and says, "Don't be in San Francisco next New Year's Eve." Again, doing his "woo, I'm magic" stuff. Yeah. The Doctor does offer Grace the opportunity to travel with him, but she politely refuses and instead kisses him goodbye. The Doctor departs alone in the TARDIS, but starts listening to his jazz. But again, the record skips like it did when the Master got free. And he goes, "Oh no, not again!" and there it ends.
Yep.
And it never got picked up because although it did really well in the UK, because of course it would, in America it didn't get the numbers. Fox basically did what Fox did and said, "Oh no, let's not." Instead of trying to build an audience, it just wanted a ready-made audience, and it basically at that point wasn't there. So that was it. And the next Doctor who we would get would be in 1999 with The Curse of Fatal Death. Which isn't canon, but is still it's an official episode of Doctor Who. And then we got the Scream of the Chalker in 2003, which was official and was supposed to be a continuation of the series. All right then, what do you think of the movie?
Very, very good. It's got really good production. Storylines, like I said, is basic, but that's just to try and hook people into liking it again. Yeah.
It's kind of like Doctor Who's greatest hits.
It's got everything there. It's got jelly babies, sonic screwdriver, not that it pops up much, but it's there. The TARDIS interior, whoa. Very gothic. I love the addition of the bats.
Oh no, it's fantastic.
Yeah, cloister rooms were fantastic. Very gothic.
It just made the TARDIS so much bigger. Whereas before you saw a couple of rooms and it was hinted at, you saw whole bits of the TARDIS that you never ever had seen or thought to have seen before. I also really like the fact that it's kind of H.G. Wells as well.
Yeah, the console was absolutely massive. Bloody. Did it have a fireplace in? I can't remember.
I think it did. Yeah, the console room's got like a whole library in it and like drawers of stuff that he's basically like the Batcave.
Yeah,
that's how I think of it. It's the Doctor's Batcave.
Yeah, and it has bats, so yeah.
Exactly, so it all works out. I mean, Russell T Davies has gone on record quite a few times and said, "Yeah, that was direct inspiration for my TARDIS." And the TARDISes that I had is the fact that you could make it. When in fact, really, I mean, you don't see that much of the TARDIS in the later series, but it is grander than what it had been previously.
Yeah.
And the same with Moffat. Moffat expounded on that with one of my favourite TARDISes, which was the 2010 Matt Smith era TARDIS. And that all comes from that. And again, the console being a bit of a mishmash of different things as well.
Yeah.
What else do you like about it? What else do you think? makes you like it so much.
I like the way Grace was very, very sceptical.
Yeah.
And a lot
I mean,
was filmed outside as well. Wasn't too studio bound.
No, there's hardly anything that's filmed in his studio, I think. A lot of it is filmed out in Vancouver.
Yeah, well, I was just about to say there, Vancouver is just one giant film set anyway.
Yeah, because it looks like everywhere, basically. And the weather's good enough that they can film a lot of stuff, but they can also have things like rain out there as well. So it's very popular. Even now, it's a very popular city. And at the time, it was filming things like the X-Files and a lot of the American shows at the time.
Yeah.
So they had all those facilities as well. What do you think is Paul McGann as the Eighth Doctor? In just in this?
Brilliant. Completely bonkers.
People don't like that wig though, do they?
Hmm?
People don't like that wig though.
No.
He doesn't like that wig. He's on record a lot of saying I fucking hated that wig.
Would suit the character at the time.
Because he was very Byron-esque.
Mm.
He's supposed to be this. I mean, he is this sort of early 19th century adventurer, and that is totally expounded on by the fact that one of his companions is Mary Shelley.
Yeah, I was just about to say very P.B. Shelley and Lord Byron together. And
yeah. I mean, that's absolutely by design. I mean, like I say, eventually he will get Mary Shelley in the TARDIS, which they're really good as well. Have you ever heard of any of those?
No, not yet.
They are fantastic.
She's
really good. The girl who plays Shelley is brilliant.
It's just so much bloody Big Finish stuff to go through.
Oh, it's ridiculous how much. But yeah. So I mean, obviously in this he's finding his feet, but you get an idea pretty quickly who this Doctor is. He's very passionate and he's different to the other Doctors you've seen because he's very much in touch with his feelings and he has no problem showing those feelings.
Yeah.
I suppose you're always going to get that with an actor like Paul McGann.
Yeah, and very literally find his feet. The shoes, they do fit.
Yeah, they fit perfectly.
That goes. That even goes a bit back to Pertwee when Pertwee's going on about shoes in his first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And there are you will see little bits of other Doctors in there.
Yeah.
Of course, the Jelly Baby thing, which wasn't exclusively Tom Baker. Everybody thinks it is, but I'm pretty sure Troughton was eating Jelly Baby.
Yes, he was.
So this isn't, but obviously it's Tom Baker's Doctor that's most associated with it. But it's just the Doctor likes Jelly Babies.
Yeah.
And there are other little things. Obviously, they brought the sonic screwdriver back at this point because McCoy never had the sonic screwdriver. No. But they do bring that back, which is fantastic. It's big and massive and chunky as well.
Yeah.
They bring back the Fourth Doctor's TARDIS key.
Mm-hmm.
And they just...
I never understood how they managed to open a Yale lock with that until this film.
Yeah, which is really clever. I like that a lot.
I'm really sorry about the noise, by the way. I live next door to where Hell's Angels meeting place.
All right, to be fair, can't hear it. It's fine.
Oh, good.
It's not a problem. So yeah, you do get the idea that this is a Doctor that is very much different than the other Doctors. He's going to be a bit more adventurous. He's, like I say, gets more excited than the other Doctors do.
Childish-ish.
Yeah, although that will go. But he has like a sense of childish wonder at the universe. He's got because the Seventh Doctor at the end seems to be very comfortable just sitting in his TARDIS and not doing very much.
Yeah.
Whereas this Doctor, he's got his adventurous side back again.
Yeah, lust for life again.
I mean, they even do it in the Eight Doctors as well. Dick's just to kind of try and explain it and say that the Doctor's effectively, the Seventh Doctor's going to commit suicide. Because he's sick of he's lived a long time, he's done things, questionable things, and he's ready to go. So he goes to Metabilis 3 to have the spiders eat him, basically. But at that point, he's tasked with getting the Master's remains, and there you go.
Yeah. My favourite, one of my favourite lines from that is when he's talking about Gallifrey.
Yeah, about the burnt orange sky. And,
yeah. Meteor storm. The sky above us was dancing with like purple, green, yellow, yes. The way he just suddenly bounces around. I love that bit.
It's also something that Russell T Davies ran with as well, because if you see Gallifrey on the new series, it's got a burnt orange sky.
Yes, it has.
But yeah, there's loads of things that RTD has taken, like the whole title sequence. You look at the 2005 title sequence, it's supposed to 1996. You can see the influence there.
Yeah.
The bigger TARDIS as well, you can see that's been a massive influence on it.
Yeah.
And certainly the musical arrangement of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the giant orchestral suites. Yeah, the only thing I think about the Eighth Doctor theme for this, they could have done without the piano, but then again, it was the 90s, and that's how the 90s rolled with their music.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, it's still better than David Arnold's theme for the Doctor Who Big Finish stories, which I really don't like because it's thin.
Which is weird because David Arnold's a really good composer.
He is, and I just don't like it. I think it's thin and weedy and it's just not very good. But there you go. It's not on for long. Can't really complain that much.
Sherlock soundtracks are absolutely bloody brilliant.
Oh yeah, they are a bit good, aren't they?
Play that on your violin.
I've seen loads of YouTube videos of people playing it on their violins. Yeah. It's very popular. No, I didn't know you played violin.
I've been playing the violin since I was about 8.
Well. Still waters, everybody. Still waters. I can't play anything apart from the Fool. What do you think of Grace as a companion?
Brilliant. I can see where they were going with her, a bit of a Dana Scully type, with the ginger hair and the raincoat. And scepticalness.
And she's a doctor as well. She's not some... I like it, the fact that she's not some silly little girl.
Yeah.
This is someone who's intelligent, who will ask the Doctor questions. And I see what you mean. They're totally going for Dana Scully.
Yeah. And I like the fact that she was older than most of the companions that the Doctors had.
Oh, absolutely. And the fact of the matter is she's still really popular is Grace. I'd love to see her come back. She has come back for a Big Finish, but she wasn't Grace. I'd like to see him do just a little... I guess they won't, because Grace's story's kind of done.
Yeah.
It is one and done, and that's it. But I would love her to come back just for a little bit. Mm-hmm. That would be great, because she is really good. And like you say, she's not some slip of a girl, is she? She's not an older lady, but she's certainly a lady in her 30s, 40s.
Pardon?
She's certainly a lady who's in her 30s or 40s.
Yeah, I would say about 38, 39. About age. Well, I'm a bit older than that, but about 40, I would say. Yeah,
I would say so. But, I really like Grace. What about Chang?
I thought he was quite funny at times. He carried the humour about the underlying humour of the story very well, and I felt really, I don't know, he was easy to relate to, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because he's not a bad guy, he's just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And you get the feeling that's been his whole life, he's just trying to survive. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like that. The fact that at the end he does do the right thing, that he does stand up to the master and say, "No, this is wrong. What are you doing?" Yeah.
When he breaks free.
No.
I also like the way it didn't even cross his mind to go off with the Doctor.
Yeah, no, it's like, no, I'm out of this. I'm off.
Yeah.
Keep me out of this. But he gets. I like to think that he did all right for himself in the end, because he got that gold dust, and I reckon he's sort of living the high life in Barbados somewhere.
Yeah.
He's sort of, he's got his own pad, and he's doing all right, and he's invested it wisely. Mm-hmm. He's done something nice for his mum and dad as well.
Yeah, I like it. So, and getting
Chang's good
with the Chinese gangs.
Yes, got out of that. And gave his gang some money so they could all get out of it.
Yeah.
Get out of that life. I reckon he did all right for himself. He came back as well, did Yuchi, so he's been in a few Big Finish things. He was also in Real Time, the Sixth Doctor.
Yeah.
Which also starred Ian Herring for some reason. Very odd, but there you go. And yeah, he's pretty good. And he's I follow him on Twitter. He talks about Doctor Who a lot, and he's really fond of his time that he spent. The little bit of time. He's very open to being questioned by it. It's like Daphne Ashbrook. She's been in a lot of genre stuff because I think she was. She might have been in the X-Files. She was definitely in Deep Space Nine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because she played a creature that got off with Julian. Mm-hmm. She was disabled unless she was like a mermaid, effectively. She was disabled unless she was in the water.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And of course, Eric Roberts is the master. He's just fantastic.
Yeah, I've noticed that practically every single actor who's ever been in Doctor Who's absolutely loved their time on it.
Yeah, they seem to have. They've not got a bad word to say about it, even though it didn't do as well as they hoped and it didn't get the full series. There's not one of them said, "Oh, it was horrible. I wish I'd never done it."
Do you think they got the feeling that, I don't know, it just seemed... Do you think Grace would have been the companion if...
No. No, I don't think she would have, because like I say, I think it's pretty... If you watch it, the ending wasn't informed by what they were going to do next, because they didn't know.
Yeah.
I think it was just one and done. It was something, like you say, because it was a bit X-Files-y. Mm-hmm. I think it was just something to get the ball rolling. In his next adventure, he would have found his new companion, because he did in the books. Mm-hmm. He got Sam, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I think that would have... And obviously he got... Big Finish, it's Sheridan Smith, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't remember her name in that. Lucy? No.
Yeah, Lucy.
Yeah, Lucy, there we are. Sheridan Smith. Back when Sheridan Smith was just an actress. She was just about to be in 2 Pints of Lager, and she was just a jobbing actress. And now, but she keeps coming back, though. That's the nice thing I like about Sheridan Smith. She keeps coming back to Doctor Who, because they all seem to really enjoy it. Mm-hmm. We said before about Big Finish, you get treated like a king or a queen when you're at Big Finish. Mm-hmm. I think Nicholas Briggs just like buying people loads of sandwiches. It's where the budget goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, she keeps coming back to Sheridan Smith. So she was obviously his. And then, of course, you get the amazing Charlie Pollard, which we'll talk about next.
Yeah.
Next. I love Charlie Pollard. She's fucking ace.
Adventurous.
It's why I like watching MasterChef. Because obviously India Fisher does Charlie. She does MasterChef, and she also does Charlie Pollard's voice. So whenever I hear Charlie on the Big Finish, I go, the Doctor will be cooking. It's ace. But there you go. I like the fact as well you've got a relatively small cast. Mm-hmm. Although the scope of the story is quite big, it's actually a small cast and not much happens in the wide world apart from everyone's going to get sucked through a black hole. But other than that, the stakes are actually pretty small. Mm-hmm. I think... I really do think at the time I remember a lot of people ragging on it, and obviously when the internet became a thing, it was the done thing to slag it off.
Yeah.
Well, it was shit, but I think I never slagged it off at the time. I always liked it, and go back and watch it and you think this was actually pretty bloody good. Mm. It was different than what we'd had. That's what the problem was. Yep. We hadn't seen it before.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of just then. I think at the time when I first saw it and I wasn't too keen on it. I wanted it to stay Sylvester McCoy all the way through, because he was like the last Doctor obviously the last Doctor would see. I just wanted it to be him all the way through. But I'm glad they got rid of them bloody question mark jumper.
Yeah, this was the time when they said, nope, that's it. And his McCoy's costume in this is ace. If only you'd been allowed to keep that.
Kind of reminds me of Bilbo Baggins' clothes.
Yeah, it is a lot like them, actually. I like that the hat, what they did with the hat, the waistcoat and all that. It was fantastic. Especially seeing as this was the 90s. They could have gone really garish and horrible, but actually that costume works now.
Yeah.
Again, it fit in with everything else. Mm-hmm. And again, I think it's something that RTD looked at and said, yeah, we want to go back to this.
Yeah.
No, it's fantastic all the way through. So yeah, I do think it was judged harshly at the time, but what came after wouldn't have come after had this thing not happened.
Yeah.
And it's been such an influence on the new series that you can't deny it and say, oh, it's just a load of rubbish, because I just don't think it is.
And this is where the kissing came from as well.
What's that, sorry?
This is where the kissing came from.
it does start to happen.
But he should have known that before when he was... he should have realised that before.
Again, though, it's not like the Doctor never kissed anybody, because he did it in the Aztecs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, had this not happened, you wouldn't have had the 10th Doctor. Because the 10th and the 8th, I would love to see something with those two.
Yes, I would.
Because they're so similar. But obviously you got well, I was going to say you got 9 after this, but you don't now. What we thought is that you had 9 after this. And that McGann would have morphed into 9. But RTD at the time said, I don't want to do a regeneration story. And then Stephen Moffat in 2013 said, screw that, I do. But again, like all good Doctor Who, and like all good decisions in Doctor Who, was completely born out of necessity.
Yeah.
Because he asked Christopher Eccleston to come back for the Day of the Doctor, and he said, no, thank you. Pretty much straight away. So I think Moffat has pretty much gone on record as saying, I'm quite glad. Because I got a better story out of it. And he also got to make John Hurt the Doctor, which is cool, because, as we all know, there's a little 7-minute episode called Night of the Doctor, where the 8th Doctor gets turned into the War Doctor.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. And out of all the things in that anniversary year, that's one of the best.
Yeah, I wish, to be honest, I would have loved to have seen a full episode based around that.
Well, you see, he's always busy.
But what we've got is good.
Well, the always busy line from the Five-ish Doctors. Oh, he's got a job on. He's got work. Five Doctors reboot, which is fantastic as well. We'll have to talk about that when we talk about the anniversary year. But yeah, he was in 2 things. He was in Night of the Doctor, which is a little coda episode, which basically tells you where the War Doctor comes from. It's a bit weird because you got... in the name of the Doctor, it introduced John Hurt as the Doctor. And I was like, ooh, what happened here? Where'd he come from? Where does he fit into everything? And then, was it 2 days before?
Yes, we get this.
Yeah, they released it online only, didn't they? Called The Night of the Doctor. It basically gets the 8th Doctor into the Time War and gets him to regenerate into John Hurt's the War Doctor. And the way it happens is that the Time War's going on, and the Doctor tries to save some space pilot called Cass, but as soon as she finds out he's a Time Lord, she wants nothing to do with him. They both crash on Khan, and both die. The Doctor is revived by a Hyla and the Sisterhood of Khan, and told that he has 4 minutes left, which he says, let's get a book and some knitting done then. Which is awesome. I always like that. And they give him the chance to regenerate. Sadly, they can't offer life to Cass because she's dead, and the Doctor gets a bit pissed off about that, and realises that he now has to join the Time War and do something about it, and requests that they turn him into a warrior, because the Sister of Khan have a good thing that they can influence a regeneration, because their Time Lord science is basically better than the Time Lords at this point.
But in the Day of the Doctor book, it turns out that the potion that she gave him wasn't really a potion at all. It was just... No. It was just... She said it was lemonade and dry ice.
Yeah, it was basically a placebo.
Yeah, just to force him to regenerate into what he needed to be.
Yeah, Hyla's a wily old coot, basically.
Yeah.
I like a Hyla.
I do.
She's out of Hellraiser as well, isn't she, Claire Higgins?
Yes.
I was shocked. I kept thinking, I know her from somewhere. Yeah, she was in Hellraiser. She's awesome. She's great. I love her. A Hyla's the one out of Brendan Morbius as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same character. So I'm guessing she can regenerate as well.
Yeah.
Or at least rejuvenate herself.
Yeah, of course they can.
Of course they can. But yeah, so basically the whole idea is that the Doctor regenerates into what he needs to be, which also explains why the War Doctor's not really that much of a warrior as he says he is, because the War Doctor Chronicles and all that, you actually see him and he's saying, you can't call me the Doctor, And it's like, yeah, but you are the Doctor, aren't you? Because even Servalan, I forget her name, I do apologise. But even Servalan keeps saying, he's not a warrior. He's saying he is, but he's still a bloody Doctor, no matter what he calls himself. But yeah, he regenerates into John Hurt's younger Doctor. It's actually off... it's I Claudius, I think it is. Mm-hmm. It's a still taken from I Claudius, because you don't actually see him. One of the best things that I love about the whole the Doctor thing is the question when he asks her, will it hurt? And she says yes. And it's like, oh, it's John Hurt. Clever. But he also does that thing because he got a weird shouting voice as well. Mm-hmm. Does Paul McGann? Grace! Get out! He sounds weird when he shouts because he's got such a soft voice. But when he shouts, it's always cool. But the most important thing, and the thing that basically blew up the internet for Doctor Who fans at that point, was that he mentioned Charlie and Chris and all the companions that he has in Big Finish, thereby making Big Finish completely and utterly canon. With one line, Moffat did that.
Yeah. It kind of ties in with all the new with River and everything. River and everybody turning up in Big Finish now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because of that, it meant that actors... It made the relationship between the BBC and Big Finish closer. Mm-hmm. Because it forced Big Finish and the BBC to do it, because now they are able, like you say, to have River, to have Michelle Gomez back into it, to have the 10th Doctor go to Big Finish. You could only have imagined a current sitting Doctor going back to something like that and doing full adventures. I mean, he's done like 2 series of it now, and he's doing a 3rd. Mm-hmm. Matt Smith eventually will get to it, but he's extremely busy at the moment. So he's on this little show called The Crown. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Oh, no, I've not heard of it at all.
Or to be fair, he's not on it anymore. He's finished.
That's what I like about The Crown, that they changed the actors. That they've changed.
Well, yeah, because it's Collie's going to be the Queen now, isn't she?
Who?
Olivia Colman.
Yes, Olivia Colman's the Queen now.
as we knew anyway.
Yeah.
By the way. Matt Smith's doing the Robert Mapplethorpe film as well, isn't he? So he's going to be like a massive star in Hollywood. I think he'll always be a character actor because of the way he looks. But I think he's all right with it.
I wish he'd turn up in Mark.
Yeah. Never mind, he'll be back in the next Doctor Who anniversary, won't he? He'll be back in the 60th.
Oh, of course he will be.
And I'd give it a year before Capaldi's back playing the Doctor.
Oh, definitely.
There's no way he's not going to go to Big Finish and say, can I do some more, please?
Of course he is. That's what I'm looking forward to his audio plays when they eventually get around to doing them.
Well, I was saying this to Shane. Hello, Shane. Sorry, I name checked you again. Saying this to Shane the other day about the reason he left, and I truly believe he just burnt himself out.
Yes,
because he's always on.
Yeah, he really threw himself into it, even when he wasn't the Doctor. My daughter Lucy, she's got a friend. He's a Doctor Who fan, and he bumped into Peter Capaldi on Wimpole Street in London, and Capaldi immediately turned into the Doctor, took those selfies with him, and they had about a good half-hour chat, even though Capaldi was going to be late for doing something. Yeah. And a few weeks later, Lucy's friend accidentally on purpose bumped into him at a Comic-Con, and Peter Capaldi remembered, oh no, it's you!
I think, it seems to me that he took the Tom Baker route of it, where you throw yourself into it, you become the character, and if a fan is there, then you be the Doctor for the fan. Mm.
I've bumped into Capaldi at St Thomas's Hospital about 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And it turned out he'd been doing... I don't know why he was there. I think he was... somebody said he was doing hospital visits. But it was definitely him when I bumped into him, because I looked at him and he looked at me, and he looked back and said, please don't, because you could tell that I'd instantly recognised him.
Yeah.
And obviously at 2 o'clock in the morning, that's not when you want to talk about.
You don't need it, do you?
No.
Thankfully, you were the type of fan who would sort of get that, but there was people who just won't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, generally he just burnt himself out. But hey ho, I think Big Finish being made canon by Moffat is one of those things. He will be back, and I think he will play the Doctor again. But we've got Paul McGann and we've got Stephen Moffat to thank for that as well. Just speaking about The Crown, I don't watch it, but I've been watching the girl who plays Princess Margaret in it. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling she might be the Doctor someday. She seems she's a bit weird, a bit odd. I mean, obviously, the ultimate aim is that Olivia Colman will play the Doctor. That's the ultimate thing, and it will happen with Mark Gatiss as a companion. But I think he'll be the Master by that point.
Yeah,
I keep saying it. If they want a male Master again, Alex McQueen, he plays it very well in the Big Finish. Just get him to, because at the end we will talk about this in Big Finish. He became Paul McGann's Master. Him and Geoffrey Beevers. But Alex McQueen is fucking fantastic as the Master. He looks like the Master as well. That's what we need for her Doctor as well. We need quite a nasty, trollish, misogynist Master. I don't think Missy would work with this Doctor. I could be wrong, but I'm not going to be wrong because she won't be. But that's by the by. But anyway, so we Night of the Doctor then.
Yes, we did.
Cool, excellent stuff. And that, sadly, I tell a lie, because Paul McGann himself was in the Five-ish Doctors reboot, saying that he would take part in their caper, and then he got a job, so he couldn't do it. It's a running joke in it that he's always working. And to be fair, he is always working. Yeah. And he's always, if he ain't working, he's at cons. Because the good thing about Paul McGann, he could have just walked away from this and said, no more.
Yeah.
I tried it, didn't work, fine. But I really do believe that he loves being the Doctor. Because he came back for Big Finish. And 18 years later, because it was the early 2000s, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's still
He's still doing it. He's still bringing them out. He's still doing big finishes.
Same as Colin Baker.
Colin Baker loves it, though.
Like we said, Colin Baker could have, initially he did say, oh, fuck this. But he came back because he just loved being the Doctor.
Yeah, and he keeps getting voted best Doctor in the big finishes. Because his ones are pretty good, and they're different each time as well, because he can do comedic ones, he can do really heartbreaking ones, he can do really dark, scary ones. He's done a lot of stuff with Davros, really good character work with him and Terry Malloy. That you wouldn't... And again, McGann with the Daleks, he does loads of good stuff with the Daleks.
Yeah.
But he does a lot of diverse stuff, because his companions are quite diverse as well. But he's got this whole continuity that's just purely Big Finish. And you have the novels as well, which are pretty good. But the Big Finish stuff is just astounding. Yeah. And the body of work he's got there. And he is, I think, still the longest running Doctor now. Yeah. Continually.
Yeah, he is. I think, but the only problem I've got with the novels is that I don't get faction paradox.
I think the novels are a bit odd because they didn't really know what to do with his Doctor. He wasn't really fleshed out in the movie as much as they wanted it to be. And then Terrance Dicks told a story that was, look, I love it. I know a lot of people don't like it because they say it's too much like old Doctor Who. But then what are you going to get from Terrance Dicks other than old Doctor Who? Yeah. And a massive part in the middle where it's just basically all about the third Doctor. I love that. It's like every other one. Some of them are quite big. You got the Sixth Doctor stuff's quite a long, like a novel in itself. But the biggest, most characterful bit in the whole thing is when he's talking about the third Doctor. Ooh, I wonder why, Terrance. Awesome. There's nothing like bias showing through. But yeah, like I say, next week we'll go into the Big Finish stuff because it's just an episode all to itself. It's massive, is the stuff he did for a Big Finish. And God love him. But at the conventions and that, he just seems like a really lovely man who loves talking about Doctor Who. And just enjoys being part of the whole thing. Which is lovely. And then they did get him in on the Day of the Doctor as well, that little tiny bit the TV movie where he just flicks a couple of switches on the thing. So he is part of it. He did get in there. We liked the Eighth Doctor.
Yeah.
He was only in one episode, but God love him. That's fine with me. It wasn't a bad episode to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Introduction story. Just a shame it never continued, really. Then again, we wouldn't have gotten
exactly
what we've got now.
Exactly. We wouldn't be getting any of that if we continued, and it might have pandered to the Americans a bit too much, which is the wrong way to go with that, because they don't want to be pandered to with Doctor Who. The Britishness is something that they love about it.
I remember a lot of complaints about Impossible Astronaut being set in America as well. Not by British people, but by actual Americans themselves.
Oh, they don't know what they want.
I think they were complaining about Richard Nixon being a good dude in it as well.
Well, at that point, he wasn't a bad dude, was he? I suppose. He wasn't the nicest man in the world, but, you know, not everyone's bad. All bad, apart from Hitler and Donald Trump, obviously. You couldn't do it now.
Yeah, I've got a soft spot for Richard Nixon. And it's all to do with that bloody Frost Nixon film. That's brilliant.
Well, David Frost is an arse anyway, so...
Yeah.
Like the Michael Sheen one.
Yes, Michael Sheen one, yes, it's brilliant.
Do you know what? I haven't seen that. I did watch The Damned United last night. Because I love that film so much. I love Cloughie. He's just, as a football fan, he's just brilliant. That whole film is not much about football. It's just about this arrogant man who has to stop being arrogant, but never really stops being arrogant.
Brian Clough. Cloughie. Brian Clough.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, my dad got belted by him when he was a kid. Because I remember, he'd gone running up to Brian Clough and said, Cloughie, can I have your autograph? And he went, that's Mr. Clough to you, and cracked him right across the ear.
That's better than an autograph.
Yeah.
Now then, young man, that would be Mr. Clough to you.
Yes.
I think you'll find.
I think my dad was about 10 when that happened.
Awesome. Right, so remember him asking once, what happens if a player's in disagreement with you? He says, well, what we do, we go into the Mac and we will have a word with each other, have a good conversation, and then at the end of it, decide that I was right all along. Fantastic. Cloughie should have been the Doctor. No. Should have been the England manager, but never mind. Brilliant stuff. So that's the Eighth Doctor's TV story out of the way. Like I say, next week, we'll be talking about the Big Finish stuff. Not all of it, because there's 18 years to go through. It will be an overview, lads and lasses. We'll go into specific stories later. Keep getting asked that. Will you go into specific stories? Yes, we will. And we'll talk about specific characters. But, you know, this is just us getting through the Doctor. There's 13 of them. Although we can only do 12. Well, no, we will do 13 because of the War Doctor.
Yeah, he's easily fitted in.
Yeah, he's all part of it. Leigh.
Yes.
Where can people find you if they need to find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Leigh Fitz, Leightfitz. And you can find me on Facebook on the Nerva Beacon pod page.
Yes.
My account,
which you can.
My Twitter account's locked at the moment, but if you want to friend me, and I'll follow me, and I'll just follow you back.
Apparently, I'm on Instagram.
Yes, I know.
I don't know. I think I took 2 pictures once, and then thought, nah, I'm nearing 40. I can't be doing this. Speaking of the Nerva Beacon, though, you can find the Nerva Beacon on Facebook at facebook.com/Nerva Beacon Podcast and on Twitter at Nerva Beacon Pod. Me, you can find on Twitter at Cymru Nerd Cave. That's Cymru, Charlie, Yankee, Mike, Romeo, Uniform, and then Nerd Cave, as you would spell that. And also on Facebook at Glenn Jakeman. Please do send me a message if you're going to try and add me on Facebook, just letting me know who you are, and then I can add you on. Sadly, if I don't know who you are and we haven't got any mutual friends, then I'm not going to add you. It's as simple as that. Weird thing on Twitter, I was followed by James Dreyfus this week. The first master, for some reason. Look, I'm not complaining, just to get it out there. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is. quite jealous.
So yeah, that's.
Goldbergs followed me.
What was that? Sorry.
The producer of the Goldbergs followed me.
Yeah, Adam F. Goldberg.
No, the other.
I mean, the other one.
Yeah.
Right. No, if it was Adam F. Goldberg, I would have completely lost my mind and got very jealous.
Yes.
But that's still awesome. That's like you could be mentioned on the Goldbergs. They might headhunt you for it.
Quite like the Goldbergs. Yesterday, when I was on the train back from Newcastle, there was a woman. She looked like she'd been at a fancy dress party, and she was spot on cosplay of Beverly Goldberg. The hair, the jumpers, the lot. Pretty brilliant.
I quite fancy Beverly Goldberg. But then I am essentially Murray, so but that's fine. No, I love the Goldbergs. Goldbergs also. I support Philadelphia's sports teams because of the Goldbergs. So there you go. That's the reason why. We're also trying to get some guests on. I'm talking to people. I'm going to try and get them on. But that won't be for a few weeks. I want to get all this out of the way first.
Yeah.
I want to get, because we've got the 8th Doctor to do. We'll then be talking about the War Doctor, then the 9th Doctor, 10, 11 and 12. And then we're going to leave the 13th because, oddly enough, we don't know anything about her yet.
Just look
apart from she's dafty. Exactly.
Christmas?
Probably.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, we will be talking about, obviously, Jodie Whittaker Watch is ongoing and stuff, and Bradley Walsh and her seem to get on very well, which bodes well for the series, I think. So yeah, we'll be talking about some more of that, and obviously our general Doctor Who talk on Twitter and Facebook. I do try and put something up every night if I can, and obviously Leigh puts stuff up all the time as well. So yeah, lots to look forward to, I think.
Yep. Excellent
stuff. Other than that, I think it's bye-bye for now. So, Leigh, say bye-bye to the lovely people.
Bye-bye, lovely people.
Bye-bye, everybody. We'll see you next time.